It's green for go. They're racing. He says go. He says ta-da. And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn. Here comes another big boil over. Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more. This is in one race. The rest are almost in another post. She is a star with a capital S. It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that? It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Welcome back to this special episode of the Sprint Lane, the Tab Eureka series. Paul Cochran with you. I have loved bringing you these stories with the connections and the people involved in what is going to be a sensational inaugural running of the Tab Eureka on the 2nd of September at Tab Court Park, Menangle. Don't forget, get your ticket secured. You just got to head to the Club Menangle website for that and make sure you register. You don't want to miss out. There is plenty to see and do on that night, let me tell you. In this episode, we are talking to Jarrod Alchin, of course, one of the young up-and-coming superstar trainers based at Tabcourt Park Menangle itself at the training centre. Wonderful facility there. And he is suiting up My Ultimate Ronnie. Boom 2-year-old, fantastic 3-year-old, and we are really excited about what we're going to see from My Ultimate Ronnie at the age of 4, which gets him a start in this race. One of the first horses to secure a slot, going fantastic, going to be a key contender. Here is part B of the Sprint Lane Tab Eureka series chat with Jarrod Alchin.
I think another 12 months under her belt here, she would have been up to the better mares. She just needed to strengthen into it.
Yep.
Like she comes straight out of 3 and straight into the Ladyship Mile, which she went super in a qualifier. She ran second, but then in the final, I think she'd probably run a race the week before.
Yeah, it's funny that, I think the name played a part too, like just such a strong name and a name that people could easily rattle off and it was easily memorable, but her performances certainly, were equally as good. And, it gave so many people joy, whether it's the owner, whether it's you guys as the people responsible for prepping her up, but even from a media sense and as a fan of watching racing, she was just fun to watch and she brought a lot of enjoyment to people. And you could see people trackside and, sort of gravitate towards the race when she was in action. You felt like, it was almost like you felt like there was a bit of superstar out in front of you.
It was sort of funny because a lot of the broadcasters and the media and everyone used to say Little Madrid, and she was about 16 hands
she wasn't
high,
that
and
little.
I was like,
No.
I don't know why everyone keeps saying Little Madrid. She's a monster.
Yeah.
Even Brad Hewitt one day, we were down the barn there, and he goes, "What's this one?" I said, "It's Madrid." He goes, "Madrid?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I always thought she was little because they keep saying Little
Everyone
Madrid."
kept saying, yeah.
She's 16 hands high. She's a monster.
Yeah.
But it's probably too a bit the way she went. She went with her head right down, and she was just such a beautiful gated filly, and she just had a great constitution. She was a good eater, good drinker. Like she after she won, I think it was the 2-year-old. I'm pretty sure it was the 2-year-old qualifier for the British Challenge here. She got choke in the swab stall after it. She got her head down and took a mouthful of straw, and she choked on it. And there was like 2 vets working on her after it to try and get her.
Oh, jeez.
And
it's not fun.
No, it was a big ordeal, and like she didn't breathe for a good few minutes, and it was very worrying times. And then finally got dislodged what was stuck, and she had blood coming out of her everywhere. And she went home that night, and she ate everything. Like, I got up in the middle of the night and drove back to the stables and checked on her. And she'd finished, so I give her more food. Got there the next morning, it was all gone. Bucket of water, all drank.
Yep.
It was like nothing had happened.
That's good. Yeah.
So we didn't know whether she'd start in the final.
Yep.
And then she come out and won.
Did so well. Yeah. I mean, we spent some time in the lead up to that Breeders' Challenge, on your property at the training centre there, and she just looked like she was in command of, the property. She was chilled out. She was hanging out with the other horses.
She wasn't always chilled out. She had a lot of sass about her. Yeah, she was very sassy. Yeah, she had a few idiosyncrasies there, but that was just her. And she had one mate Byron. We couldn't put her in the paddock with any other horse, only Byron, because she'd boot the crap out of him. She'd chase him into the paddock, but. She just loved Byron because I think Byron just let her boss him around.
Yeah.
So
I remember seeing them together on the property. So that gets us to, well, they're no longer with you. They've they've been sold and they're over in the States. They left together on the same flight.
Yeah, they got sold to different trainers over there, but yeah, they went on the same flight. So hopefully I think they're both nearly ready to trial. So hopefully they do a terrific job over there.
What was that like, mate? Like saying goodbye? That must have been tough.
Yeah, I'm not a real sentimental sort of person, but they were very good for my barn at the time. You know what I mean? Like we'd had a few rough years with babies. As it is with babies, when you're buying big numbers of babies, and you have about a couple of years, they take up a lot of stables, and if none of them are much good, you're left with not many there, you know. So we'd had a couple of rough years with our babies, and then when them few horses come along, you know, it puts your stable back up in lights, and we went from sort of racing only a handful of horses to sort of we're in the top 3 in the Metro Premiership here now, and we're in the top 10 in the state. And I think if it wasn't for them few horses kicking me back off, we probably wouldn't be there. So, having good run we are today.
So, you know, you're not the sentimental type, but it must be hard not to feel a term of endearment towards the ones that do so well for you. And, you know, they're the ones that keep food on the table and, you know, prop the bank balance up and make you and bring your self-esteem out as a trainer. I would imagine when they do so well, it must be hard not have the favourite child, but you know Travis
what I mean. Travis got more upset than me when he came out to get some photos with her before she left. I think he was a bit emotional, but it's just not so much getting upset or emotional about them. It's just enjoying their ride that they took us on, and at the end of the day, I sit back and have a beer and remember how good they were to me, and watch a couple of replays of them, and yeah, you know, like I'm sure when they go over there, they'll do a good job. Well, now that they're there, and we'll watch them go around.
So are you the trainer with the photos of the wins? You that bloke?
Yeah, we got the photos of their
got them on the wall at home.
Their good wins. Oh, they're not even on the wall yet. They're in the frames, but we've got to get them put up. But we're going to get some renovations done at home.
The way you win, you're going to need a bigger house if you're going to put them on the walls.
Oh no, we'll just we might get some renovations done downstairs and chuck them on the wall and that. So, yeah, but you know, it's good just to look back on them sorts of horses. Probably when my young bloke, he's only 2-year-old, but he's horse mad, and he gets up and looks at the photos, and whether he's in the horses or not when he grows up, who knows? But just to be able to show him them good horses, and know you just didn't train crabs all your life.
And there'll be memories it'll trigger where he'll remember Madrid and remember Byron at some point. You know, you'd think.
Well, I don't know whether I remember him because he was too busy screaming when I was at the horses working him. But
all right. So, you know, as you said, they're not that far off from. They've been in the States for a little bit now. They're not that far off. Like, what's that going to be like? You think? Yeah, well, tune in and watch them go around in a foreign country at a different time zone.
Yeah, well, I haven't spoke to the people with Byron yet since he arrived, but I was speaking to Bongiorno's during the week, actually. They touched base and said they're really happy with Madrid, and that she's nearly ready to have a trial. So I'd say within the next week or two she'll be going around.
So is that just like a trainer-to-trainer handover process? They want a little bit of intel on what's gone. Is that how it normally works?
No.
That's just you.
That's the first time any of the trainers over there have reached out to me when I've sold them. We've sold a fair few over there, but they reached out and just wanted to know about her and all her little idiosyncrasies and all that sort of thing, and credit to them for doing that because she can be a little quirky.
Well, I imagine they both mean so much to you that you'd be more than happy to sort of pass on that intel.
Anything to help them out. Like I want to, hopefully they can go over there and race in stakes races, and it'd be great to see her racing in some stakes races.
Wouldn't it be good? Well, you'd be like the proud dad, wouldn't you? Watching that on TV.
I think she's got the ability. It's just whether she adapts to their style of racing. And I've sent other horses over there in the past that have done good jobs, and she's a lot better than them. So
that'd be the dream, mate, for you to get over there and be trackside and see her again, I reckon.
Yeah, well, one day we might get back over there, but for the time being, we'll just watch her and cheer her on.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so unfortunately, as we said, Byron and Madrid have left the stable, but you hung on to Ronnie. That's a good hold.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be going anywhere anytime soon.
That's a good hold.
He's named after Scott's old man, so who passed away from cancer. So I'm tipping there'll be a paddock out the back of Scott's place for good for Ronnie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, well, looking ahead, we talked about the frames and the photos on the wall. Mate, gee, a photo of Ronnie at the Eureka winning the world's richest race in its first ever running would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be nice, but at the end of the day, we're a realist, and it's going to be a tough race to win. I'm just glad we got a horse in the race who, I think is a top 4 or 5 chance, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go out there and think I can win it or whatever. He's going to need a lot of luck with the barrier draw to start with, and then he's going to have to turn up on the day. But if the right Ronnie turns up, I think he can run top 4 or 5.
Where do you think, the perfect draw, what do you think the perfect draw looks like for Ronnie? The way he races?
How it's looking after today, he could probably draw 3 because I think the mare's in it and the Lost Storm, so 3 would be good. But we don't want to be too wide. He needs a good draw. So if he gets a good draw, he'll be right thereabouts.
Serious calibre of racehorse. It's earned a start in this race. I know you're a big rap on Leap to Fame. I think Leap to Fame's the horse to beat.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, no, he's I'm in awe of him. He's you just watch him. Even that run where he carried the flat tyre and the blacks are fake. Even if he hadn't have got the flat tyre, I don't think he would have run the leader down. But he would have got a lot closer, and to get as close as what he would have in them sectionals was just unbelievable performance.
Yeah. Okay, mate. The kid who grew up in country New South Wales. I mean, back then the Eureka wasn't a thing, but big races were a thing. I guess the dream would have been to one day be in a position you're in, having a starter in the world's richest race.
Well,
Must have been the dream, mate.
Yeah, well, back then it was the Inter-Dominion, you know what I mean? I went, when I was a kid, I went and spent some time with Brian Hancock, and we spent about a month there at his place, and that was the one race you wanted to win was the Inter-Dominion. Brian had won so many, and he just had so many great horses. When you're a kid, he was my idol, and just looked up to him all the time, you know what I mean? And to think now that I've got a runner in a race worth more money, it's just unbelievable, really. Just hopefully he can do us proud.
Oh, mate, I've got no doubt that Ronnie's going to do us proud, regardless of where he finishes, because we've got visiting horses, but this is going to be the local hope.
Yeah, no,
the horse that lives and trains right here, right at this track.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing in his favour. He doesn't have to go too far, and he, as I said earlier, he loves the water walker, and he spends a lot of time on the water walker here because of his little issues. And I think not having to do anything different, his day-to-day regime will stay the same, and he's just going to come down here. I'm tipping they'll go in the retention barn, which he's been in before, and it hasn't worried him. So, nothing will change with him.
So he's been in big races before, and there's been crowds, but we're going to see a crowd the likes of which we haven't seen for many years, probably since the opening of this track. Is there anything you can do as the trainer to kind of get him ready for that?
Well, I think if there's ever a horse that won't worry, he will not care one bit. Yeah, no, he's a relaxed. He's a relaxed customer. No, he will not care one bit. Whether there's a day like today where there's 4 people in the crowd, or whether there's 4,000 or 5,000, maybe more people, it doesn't worry him. There's a big crowd on Rising Sun night at Albion, and he's just walking around the parade ring with his head on his chest. Didn't even know they were there. So no, that's one good thing about him. He's just such a relaxed customer. Yeah.
Do you think being out on that track, as we said, we saw him this morning, it felt like he was ready to go. He was game ready because he knows this track, and this is a comfort zone. Being out on that track, I think that could be I know we've talked about whether it's an advantage or not, but the chance there's a chance that this crowd situation, the retention barn situation, as you talked about, and all the factors and the trimmings that go around this big race and the add-ons could intimidate some of the horses, and maybe that's not something you need to necessarily worry about a great deal. And
well, I don't have to worry about anyone else's horse. I've only got to worry about my own. So,
yeah.
But definitely when they go into the retention barn, some horses settle in better than others. Some horses are trained out of paddocks and aren't used to being locked up. So, but he's trained out of a barn and he gets locked up at night. So I'd say some horses won't settle in. That's just how it is. Every big race here in Menangle gets locked up, and some horses don't run well out of the barn. So generally mine do, because they're used to being in a barn environment. So that it won't worry my horse, that's for sure.
So he gets out there, and there'll be 3-4 times the crowd at the parade ring. Taking note, and then he'll get out on the track, and there'll be thousands up against the fence, and Ricky Lee does the national anthem, and there'll be music blaring and that. You think Ronnie's out there just saying, "This is my turf.
Yeah,
look at me."
He'll be just poking around with his head down. Nothing worries him. Yeah, unless you really stoke him up, he's probably the most relaxed horse I've ever trained.
Yeah,
yeah.
And Cameron will know when to push that button.
Yeah. Cameron knows when to switch him on. He'll give him a run up in the warm up and switch him on, right. And then he'll know.
It's been a few weeks, or a little bit longer since you knew you were in the race. Is it starting to consume your mind a little bit, or have you thought about it a great deal when your head hits the pillow at night that Eureka might flash through your mind?
Oh, not really. More so just this horse, because he's sort of. He's an easy horse to train, but he's also a hard horse to train with his little problems that he's got. So he more worries me in any race, whether it's just an ordinary race here on a Saturday night or whether it's a Eureka. Just hoping that I've got him spot on is a bit of a worry. But the Eureka, it won't change the way I'll work him, or it won't change the way we lead into the race. It'll be just like any other race. So although come Eureka Day, I'll be a bit on edge. I'll guarantee you.
When do you reckon that kicks in? When do the nerves kick in as a trainer?
Oh, probably on the day of the race.
Is that normal for you?
Yeah, the race day, even on an ordinary day, I come into the races. I get a little bit excited, and
is it day of, or is it the days leading up?
The day of generally. The days leading in is pretty good, but you get a little bit more anxious, and a bit of butterflies in.
It's things you can't control, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And that's one thing when I stopped driving that I found it really hard to start with. It was all out of my control when I went out there. When I'd stop when I would put junior drivers on or other drivers on, if I was suspended early days, I wouldn't even watch the race. I'd be too nervous. But now I'm fine with all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
What'll be will be, and
you
got a lot of faith in the drivers I put on, and try and put drivers on that suit me.
What's we're big races here, and and you're prominent in them, but you can sense the hype is starting to build for the Eureka, isn't it? There's an excitement starting to really build up for this race and this event, and this so it's like a carnival in itself built around one race.
Yeah, no, that's right, exactly. And they're doing a lot of promotion work here now, so every time you sort of come into the races, there's something going on about the Eureka, and it's on social media a lot, and it's really starting to take shape, and I think this will probably be one of the best races of the year, with the calibre of horse we got in the race, I think it's probably going to be the race of the year, and we'll look back on this race in sort of 12 months' time, and I think a lot of the Green Circuit horses will be coming out of this race.
Yeah, and I know Andrew Kelly, the CEO of Harness Racing Australia, has talked about that. He sees this race as being one of those elite races where we're going to see some of the great, sires potentially coming out of this, and it's going to be one of those races where people talk about as an epic for the ages.
Yeah, I think this year it's just lucky that it's the first Eureka, but this bunch of 4-year-olds is just like probably one of the best bunch of 4-year-olds I've ever seen, so and throw in the Lost Storm, and he's just an excitement machine. So, and he's going to draw barrier 1. So, I think we'll definitely be looking back on this particular race as a form race for a long, long time.
I bet while you're excited about the race, I bet you also can't wait for it to be over too.
Yeah, I know.
That must be the lot of a trainer. You can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, I'm going to Cairns 2 days after, so I can't wait either.
You'll be out there with Birds of Tokyo, won't you, straight after the race?
I'll be at the bar somewhere, that's for sure. But, we fly out to Cairns a couple of days after the race for a few days away, so let our hair down there.
How does a horse trainer take holidays? That must be tough even to navigate.
Yeah, we don't get many holidays. No. So
let's take some planning.
Generally, when we go on holidays, you take horses. So, it's something that the family doesn't like too much. So at the present, Mum and Dad are trying to organise a family holiday. But if I don't have something on, Ricky does or Alex does or someone's always got something on. So it's hard to get actually a big family holiday and get all the family together. So, it's sort of just got to work in the racing calendar a bit and do your best.
We talked about the nerves, mate, but are you excited for it? Are you excited for the race?
Yeah, very excited. Yeah, no, it'd be silly if I said I wasn't. No, I'm very, very excited and just glad to have one in it. Glad to be have one of the horses that people are talking about. Like I might never get another one in the Eureka, so you got to enjoy it. And years to come, I can look back and tell the kids that I had one in the Eureka.
Mate, years to come, you might be looking back and telling the kids that you won the Eureka. So,
fingers crossed,
mate. Fantastic to sit down and sort of pick your brain around this wonder horse that we can't wait to see go around on this wonderful track, the best track in the world. It's going to be, as we said, the world's richest harness race. It's going to be such a spectacle for our sport. The race itself, the event. Everything that goes around it. We're going to have one of the biggest bands in the country. We've got an amazing singer in Ricky Lee doing the national anthem. It is going to be such a spectacle, such a great promotion, advertisement for our sport. And I'm really thrilled for you, mate, that you're part of it.
Thank you.
You've been so good to, particularly me, but our brand in harness racing New South Wales around, prepping up great horses, but being available to talk about them. So go well, mate. I know everyone here has got our fingers crossed for you because you're flying the flag for this club and the training centre just up the road. You're a tenant there and you work your horses here, so you are legit the local hope.
Hopefully we can make everybody proud.
Oh, mate, I've got no doubt you will, no matter regardless of the result. Go with Jarrod Alchin, obviously the trainer of My Ultimate Ronnie, one of the first horses selected to be part of the inaugural running of the Tab Eureka, and for good reason. And we'll see My Ultimate Ronnie. Jarrod, Cameron Hart's going to take the drive. Good luck to everyone involved in My Ultimate Ronnie, and we can't wait to see how this race plays out on September 2. Make sure you get in and secure your ticket. There's hospitality packages, but you've got to get on that Club Menangle website and register to secure your ticket. You don't want to miss out because it is going to be one of the most memorable nights in Australian sport, certainly this year and in harness racing that we've ever seen. Jarrod, thanks for your time, mate.
No worries. Thanks a lot, Paul.
Hope you enjoyed having a listen to, I guess, the stroll down memory lane around some great horses over the past few years with Jarrod Alchin and what's to come with My Ultimate Ronnie. It's going to be fantastic. To everyone tuning in, thanks for your time on this special episode of The Sprint Lane. I look forward to bringing you another episode down the track as we continue the build up to the Tab Eureka on September 2. Bye-bye.